because would you believe it? I wanted to make the video about 10 to 15 minutes. I failed. Hi, welcome back to whatever this is. My name is Kaysa. I'm online, and today I'm going to be talking about Scissor 7. Funny enough, I completely forgot about this show for many years. Apparently it came out in 2018 or something like that, but it is a Chinese anime that is on Netflix. I think it's a Netflix exclusive, and it's a really nice show to watch if you feel like watching it. I don't know, it's pretty good, actually easy to watch, but there's a lot of things I actually want to talk about. I actually just got finished watching all 4 seasons. Well, actually I just got finished with a nap. That's actually what I just got from now. But besides that, I didn't realize how much I've been missing out when it comes to this show. Also, I do want to acknowledge that I got a new microphone, so I'm happy about that. I don't know, I just feel like everyone should know I got a new microphone. It's a brand new microphone. I feel like it's better in every single way than my other microphone. I can actually use my headphones again. It's just, so there's a lot of different things I want to go over with this show, and I'm trying to debate on how I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it in 2 different pieces. One, the actual things that happen in the show, of course, maybe giving you a breakdown, maybe per season, but the way that the show is written also goes into my other points that I have to talk about when it comes to the show. So I'll give a main overview of the show. It's about the main character, whose name is Seven, and his whole thing that you'll be introduced to immediately is that he has amnesia and he doesn't know who he once was. But alongside him is Daibo and Xiaofei, and those are the 2 who are hanging out with him on Chicken Island. That's where they all live, that's where the story starts, and that's where the setting begins for all of the other shenanigans that happens moving forward. So they're not rich or wealthy or anything like that, so reasonably, what options do they have other than to do a sort of hustle? And they would sell noodles. At one point they do try to have a barbershop. I mean, they have the barbershop, but they also decide that they mainly actually want to get into assassination or become a part of the Killers League, which may seem extreme, but that's just how the world is set up. Apparently it's divided into 3 sorts of sectors or factions, right? You have people who are into martial arts or any sort of like specialized training of some sort. You have the people who are killers, all part of the Killers Leagues, who want to be assassins, who train for that matter. I think the martial arts and then the Killers League kind of overlap. And then you have the people who are part of Stan or Stern. I am not sure. It kind of sounded like both in the show and also written as both in the show. So I am not entirely sure, but I think it's Stan. They're all science, technology. Not everybody really likes them. They're doing a lot of experiments on people. It's really not that great. And then you just have normal regular people who are just normal regular people, can't really do much, just here to hang out and live, hopefully, right? The way that it works too is that you can be, of course, a sword for hire, you can be assassin, bounty hunter, whatever the case may be, but there's different levels to everything. There's different backgrounds, there's different specializations, there's different ways to look at it. Every single person's background if you're out doing something, which is really cool of the show, because you know you have so many different things you can look into, including the type of characters. I did say there's humans just hanging out. I want to specify that I was really just saying humans to the point that there are also animals that can also speak and talk. Daibo and Xiaofei are chickens. They're blue chickens, actually. And their backstory is introduced too as to how they ended up on Chicken Island. They are not from Chicken Island, fun fact. And then they also on the same island have dogs and cats who can talk and interact and act, you know, essentially act like humans, but essentially are just like have that, what is that, that brain capacity to communicate and all of that stuff. I don't know why I'm trying to gently and politically correctly speak about how animals are talking. Like, I don't know. I don't want to offend. If there's a dog or a cat out there who can talk and act like a human or perform the same capabilities as humans, then okay, I'm here for it. I'm not against it, as far as I know. Along with the show, you meet, of course, a variety of different characters. And because there's so many different factions, the way people can interact with the world, you meet so many different people who also know so many different things, which is why the show becomes super exciting. I want to take a step back and say the reason why I feel like I stopped watching the show is for two reasons. One, I thought, based on the first season alone, that it was just going to be something more of a goofy little show. Not goofy like I can't take it seriously. I mean those shows that have moments of being serious and actual plot and story, but it's still more fun-loving majority of the time. So I guess you could say I didn't take it as seriously when it started coming out with new seasons and shows and everything. It's not that I wasn't against watching it, because I really actually liked the first season, which is why I had no issue with going back to watch all 4 seasons. It's not like I was like, oh, well, that show was boring. I enjoyed myself. It was just more like, well, if I'm going to watch an anime, I'll go watch this other anime and maybe I'll come back to this one. I just flew out of my brain, you know? I missed out though. I did. I'll fully admit, in my opinion, I missed out based on how the seasons went. Also, I think it's just for the fact of anytime I went on Netflix, I just wasn't in the mood for an anime. I don't actually go on Netflix for anime. Well, now I do since they have more anime options. But still, at the time when it came out in 2018, I wasn't going on Netflix for anime. So when I went on Netflix, I went to go watch something else. So that was also a conflict there too. But let's actually get into the show first, right? They have 4 seasons right now, and I'm pretty sure they're going to have a 5th. So this is not done. There's still more to come in terms of the storyline. There's so much I want to know. They got to wrap this up right. But there may also be, and this is just looking at the current political landscape that we're in, some conflict. Because again, this is a Chinese anime. Do that with what you will, information wise. I'm feeling optimistic. I'm hoping that we get this show. If we don't, or if season 5 is just on a different platform, please let me know, because I want to watch it. Season 1, you get introduced to Seven and the gang, Daibo, Xiaofei, they're the main people, and you get introduced to more people based on how their lives are. So while Seven, Daibo, and Xiaofei are essentially trying to become assassins, or actually Seven is the one trying to be the killer, Daibo is just convincing him to do that. He's also playing as a barber on the side and also sells food as well. They're just trying to get some money, pay that rent, you know what it is. There's just some shenanigans that come around, right? So season 1, we find out Seven has chi-powered scissors. So the scissors that he uses, he can use also as a weapon. They can fly around, come apart, come back together, do all types of things that he wants to do with his chi or the energy that he infuses in them. So he actually has a power in this case, but it's not a superpower. That is actually a distinction within the show, that there is a separate island that we find out, I believe in season 3, season 3, that there is a separate island for people who actually has superpower abilities that they are born with, versus people like Seven who have chi infused abilities that they learn and develop. So that's a serious distinction there too. Season 1, they're after money. He does have power with scissors. That's another reason why he's interested in becoming a barber. He actually is interested in learning how to be a better barber. He would be really good if he just didn't get distracted. That's the whole first season in a nutshell. He would be really good at what he was doing if he didn't get distracted. He has his own types of morals and things like that too, so we don't want to, disregard that either. But during the first season, this is where you find out about Chairman Jiang. She seems like an older woman, and she just wants to keep everybody in check. You can consider her like the strict HOA of the entire island. Then you have Hei Da-shun. He is a bodyguard who knows how to harden his skin, and I think it's called Invincible Virgin or Invincible Virginity. That's just what it is. But he's a bodyguard and he's very straight-laced. Then you have Cola. She's a girl who we are introduced to being as dying with some sort of illness, and she actually hires Seven to kill her, but you know, they actually end up hanging out because she actually just wants to go out and have fun. And Seven, as I established, he has his own feelings and morals as well, so he would be a killer, but he doesn't kill anybody. And then we have Uncle Chen, who is the island, I guess you could say, chief in his own way. Not island chief like he's in charge of anything, but he is somebody. I don't know. He coordinates something. I didn't really invest too much into Uncle Chen. He plays a role, but he doesn't play a role. He gets kidney stones. You know, that sucks. You have Granny Chen, Xiaolong Chen, and Mr. Chen. I will get into them in a moment, but I will also say you have characters like Underpants Man, which is how we get introduced to Chairman Jiang, because Underpants Man is just a guy who has a fetish for underpants, but he does not steal that from people. Okay, he does not steal underwear from people. That's been clarified. He just goes to the store, buys all types of underwear, and goes home to be a pervert. That's been established. We have Prince of Stan, and he is from Stan Island where all the technology plays, and he has issues with, I don't know, being social. Like, he just doesn't fully get it. You already have the we also have the Miracle Doctor, who is able to well, he's a miracle doctor, you know, he's able to heal a lot of different things. As well as you have Mad Bark and Meow Kitty. Mad Bark, dog leader, Meow Kitty, cat leader, and they play different roles that move on into season 2, which is why I want to bring them out now and talk about them first, right? So at first 13 was also after 7, not specifically, but she saw him, was like, what are you? I'm just gonna try to kill you off, because he saw her face. So that was the thing too. So that's season 1, and I know I didn't get into a lot of details of season 1, but it really is just a lot of shenanigans of them interacting and meeting with each other. And the other thing is also the fact that Seven has lost his memory. He has amnesia, so he really is just living his life, doing all types of things. There's hints into what his past may look like. We do get a major hint that he is definitely a part of the Killers League, and the Killers League has killers in it. So he is meant to be a part of, well, not meant to, but from the world of killing and killers. So there's that too. If you move on to season 2, we get to a point where 13 is helping 7. And 13, by the way, is a girl. 7 is 21 years old. They're around that age, so like they're not kids or anything. But 13 is a woman who was helping 7 at one point, but it turns out she was just helping to spy on him. And that has introduced a bunch of assassins coming onto the island to be after 7 or different people. And the reason being is that because 13's master recognizes him and knows who 7 is. And this becomes more of a thing where essentially the shadows of 7's past are coming forward, but he just has no recollection fully. So he now knows he's part of the Killers League and was actually one of the top tier killers. I was on the wiki looking up certain names. I think he was actually number 1 killers, and he was actually part of a league called the Shadow Killers. The Shadow Killers is a group, small group of people who are like the best, you know, in the Killers League with their, you know, master or whatever, right? 13's master is Green Phoenix. Green Phoenix is also a part of the Shadow Killers, so they know each other, right? This builds on itself because more characters end up popping up because of that, for various different reasons too, not entirely because they want to be after 7. For example, Chairman Jiang, you think that she's just a regular lady who just happens to know martial arts or whatever. That's not the case. Another one of the Shadow Killers shows up, and it's Red Tooth. And Red Tooth was actually after Chairman Jiang, because Chairman Jiang is Jiang. Ooh, I am butchering these names. At least I feel like I am. I don't fully know her name, so I'm just gonna go with Jiang. Sorry, I didn't write down her full name. That's my fault. Okay, that's my fault. But it's after Jiang, right? Red Tooth is after Jiang. And that's because they have a history, which gets unveiled in like season 4. You know, you would think I wrote down, but I only wrote down some names and points. So, you know, we do what we got to do. At the same time, you're also meeting other people. There was actually a person who looks like he's a homeless man, but he just likes to get haircuts to look like a homeless man. I don't know, but he's actually a super powered leader of another martial arts group. That's something too. When it comes down to season 2, the interconnections there get more interesting. Now, I want to circle back to the Chen family before I forget that Granny Chen, she is a dominatrix, and that's been specifically pointed out. So do that with what you will. And her grandson is Xiaolong Chen, right? So Granny, she likes to scam people. She likes to beat people up. She a lot, right? And she and Seven get into it at one point because Seven was hired to kill her in the first season. By the way, I'm going out of order, but in the first season, she beats his ass. He always gets beat up. That's something. But we find out that the reason why there was an order on her, a hit on her, was because of Mr. Chen, her son, who wanted the money from the insurance for an accidental death. And there was nothing said about that ever again. And I would like to know why. Like, why is Mr. Chen like that? Can we get him out of here? I don't know what I might have missed, because sometimes I'll be on my phone. But it's just the fact of like, you're shit, dude. And they showed their whole like lifetime and everything, like a little passing, kind of like an artistic flashback in a way, because they have a lot of those, which I appreciate because it gives some context. And another, it looks bad, like he was just chilling at. So I ended my recording. So that's gonna be in 2 pieces. I love that. For me, I ended my recording by accident. I think I'll move on from there. Also in season 2, Cola ends up hanging out with Prince of Stan because of Lizard. Lizard kept Seven immobilized, and Cola went out and found Prince of Stan and convinced her to fly her to Stan. A lot of people want to go to Stan for medical reasons because they can fix a lot of things, sure, but most people hate Stan because they just steal people, do experiments on them, and it's really bad stuff, right? And for whatever reason, the Prince of Stan, who once tried to destroy the island in the first season, sees Cola now as his responsibility to take care of. And I think it's because of a detail that I'll get into a little bit later, right? But season 2 also introduces more killers, or people who are trying to be killers. We get Ichiro. He's a guy who with a sword and a gun in the sword who tries to fight Seven. That doesn't work out for him, but Seven and him becomes friends. Normal assassin is normal assassin. Everybody beats his ass, but he's got spirit. That's what we like here. And we got Lizard. Lizard was an assassin, but he just, you know, he just kind of wastes his own time, not really being smart about anything. The great adversaries, I could say, for season 2 would likely be Red Tooth, who ends up trying to fight Jiang. So Seven likes to protect people. And when Seven was fighting Red Tooth, he has these moments, which also showed in season 1, but he has this moments when he like gets into his killer, you know, form or whatever it is, unconsciously, to save whoever he's around. He's gotten a little better at it in season 2 simply because he's a little bit more conscious of the fact that he's doing that based on the sword that he's using. It's a special sword that has like, it's broken in a million pieces, but it's because you're supposed to use it in a certain way. I think it's like a 1,000 demon sword. I don't know. It looks like the lighting is just changing a lot. Is it because of, yeah, it's because outside. But 13 and 7 are getting closer, and everybody is like more of a family now at the end of season 2. Everybody's mostly chill around each other, right? Season 3, oh, I'm so sorry, I don't want to say season 3. Also in season 2, we find out that both Red Tooth and Chairman Jiang come from a martial arts group. Heavenly something. What were they called? Heavenly something. I don't know why I'm blanking right now, but Heavenly something. They were from the same factor. We get into season 3. At the beginning of season 3, or I guess you could say that season 3 is essentially an Odyssey trip. And that's exactly how I took it, where Seven ends up having to leave the island because he is the reason why a lot of these assassins and killers are coming for him. And now everyone knows who he is. And everyone knows that he is now Seven, the number 1 killer in the league, as well as part of the shadow killers and everything. Like, he is top dog, and there is an order to kill him at all costs. Whoever kills him gets the biggest reward out there. So he's a prize piece, and he doesn't want anybody on Chicken Island to get hurt. So he tries to leave because Green Phoenix tells him that the only person, or the only way to end this, is not only to leave, but to kill the leader of the Shadow faction, or, you know, the Shadow Killers. So he goes off, and then a lot more things happen because it's an Odyssey trip. So run into, what is it called? I think it was like Hard Island or something like that. It was called Hard Island, which is a bunch of bodybuilders and stuff in there. We get to Shenwu. I think that's the island or the main country that they're trying to get to, where all the main martial artists and different factions and sects and everything. Sects, S-E-C-T-S are. And the interconnectivity of the worlds and the storylines start to unfold a little bit more. I don't want to get into super details about that. And then season 4, you see essentially all the different, not only timelines, but all the different connections people have made, characters have made, coming together in a way that you're coming to a point of transition, but it doesn't fully go through, right? Not in a way that's boring, not in a way that it feels like a super huge, you know, cliffhanger or anything like that, but more like it is fully intended to be a season 5. There is no suggestion of it's an open ending. This is like okay, well then come back at season 5. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not one of those, it's like a please come back sort of thing, if you want to know what happens. And I want to know what happens because there are so many different things I would like to know. I have so many questions. So now that was my very, very, very poor rendition of 4 seasons of the show, where I mainly blabbed about season 1 and 2 and then just skirted over season 3 and 4. And the reason being also is to get into my other points, because season 3 and 4 gets into these other points that I have about the show. I wrote it on a piece of paper about the way the story tells, right? So season 1 is far more of just a regular anime where things are happening. You could say it's just, I thought it was more like a kind of like one of those everyday life sort of animes with a little bit of fun, right? A little bit of killing. It is what it is, but it's goofy because he can't kill anybody, right? That's what I thought it was going to be, that type of goofy thing. Maybe he was going to rise up to be the best killer, or find out he was already the best killer, or whatever the case may be. But it's a little bit more than that, right? We find out that he's the number 1 killer, but the reason why that he is no longer in that space is because he essentially chose somebody to help who, based on the flashback, betrayed him. So when everybody was after him, he had to escape, and he fell into the water, washed up on Chicken Island. That's how he ends up on Chicken Island. Daibo and Xiaofei, they end up on Chicken Island because they were fleeing a place with that imprisoned chickens and had chicken fights. So, long story short, Xiaofei's dad dies. Daibo was friends with Xiaofei's dad, Dafei, and he essentially pieces out, was like, we gotta leave here. He helps to free all the other chickens as well. He names himself King of the Chickens, but, you know, we gotta leave this island where humans not only like to feast on chickens, but make them fight for entertainment, because that's bad. Side note, I keep forgetting that pheasants are birds, because there's a pheasant in the show, and I don't know why when I hear pheasant, I just think of a ferret. I don't know. I don't know. We don't talk about pheasants enough. I just don't think we talk about pheasants enough for me to recognize, like, yes, pheasant, bird. Like, I don't have that. And I know a lot of animals, not all the animals, but shoot, I keep forgetting that pheasants are birds. It's crazy. Are pheasants a type of chicken? In the show, and I mean in the literal sense of telling the story, is that we find out at the end, I think the 3 last episodes actually, the end of season 1 is about Daibo and Xiaofei, not about 7. It's about them and their background and the fight and you know what they had to go through, and that's the end of season 1. So that is already a disconnect to the regular storytelling, because it's not linear to what one specific character is, especially who is supposed to be the protagonist of the story. And this actually happens again, I believe, in season 3. I binge watched it. In season 3, There was a moment where the music cuts in, it's like a longer ending, and it seems like it's the end of the season. It's like the 5th episode. I'm like, this is not broken up in the way you would expect it, but I'm not mad at it. It doesn't feel disjointed. It's just you don't expect it to end the way that it does. And I think I like that. I think this works for this. I have not watched any other show that does this specifically. I've watched other Chinese animes by chance, but this show specifically does it in a way that makes me think of the artistry behind it, because of the way that they use music and images to be able to encapsulate not only the feeling but the stories, and sort of wraps them up but also opens them in a way that I think what it does when it does that is that it allows you to contain the storyline of specific characters and say, this is them right here. We're going to separate you from the main plot. This is them. And they do that multiple times. Like, they give characters a full background when they want to, right? When they want to. You don't learn more about Red Tooth and Jiang until the season 4, towards the very, very last couple of episodes. But it does feel random at the same time. You'll be watching the show and the next minute cut over here, pay attention to these important details because they do matter, and they cut back to something else. And it's almost feeling disjointed, but exactly what you need at the same time. And the flow is just different. I think it works for this show, but I don't know how else to verbalize it. The other point I want to talk about is also the connections and interconnections of things, because what I have noticed is how the characters connect with each other in a way that is slightly different from what I've experienced from other shows as well. Not to say that symbolism doesn't exist, but it's almost, if you look at it from the lens of watching the show, where almost any piece, location, character, item, action, name, word, can be expanded upon. I think that's what's the most exciting thing about it. If you're looking at just main plot, start there. Seven is a killer with amnesia, and his destiny, or point of the show, is probably to go back to Shenwu to find out more. That's a single point storyline. But like I said, in season 3, it's like an odyssey. He goes to this island, he goes to that island, he goes to that island, and all these different things are happening. And while we're going to picking at different islands, you remember that a lot of the characters ended up on Chicken Island and keep going back to Chicken Island as one thing. And whoever you met on Chicken Island, also you find out where they're from on different islands and countries and places too, based on where Seven and them are going. But then also you have other characters doing other stuff traveling around, like He Dashun, the one whose invincibility, virginity, I think that's what it's called, I completely forget. We found out not only where he originally started from, but where he ends up going with 13's sister, 11. She's 11. 11. And I should point out that 13, I don't even know if I mentioned 11 earlier, but 13 and 11 are sisters, and the reason why they have their names as numbers is because they are the 11th daughter, 13th daughter of the Plum Blossom Master, who is their dad, who's a bit of an asshole because he just wanted a son to teach the sword techniques to. He didn't want to protect his daughters or families or nothing. Like, he's a shit dad. He's a shit dad. That's just what it is. Like, he won't even protect his daughters that he doesn't even want to train. Make it make sense. You don't want to train them to protect themselves, but you want to look at your, I don't know, like 7-year-old daughter and say that she's too weak. Okay. All right, sure. Right, make it make sense, but you won't. And I'm not giving you all the details of the show, obviously, because I'm not going to sit here and spoil it for you. I don't want to do that, because it's a really good show to watch. There's a lot of depth and moving pieces that flow in a way that's different than traditional anime or just American shows, Japanese, American anime shows, cartoon shows that I'm used to, and I really enjoyed the show because of that. It made me realize how many characters out there are essentially overpowered, and you don't know it until there's a moment to need it. And I think that's the reason why the interconnectivity of everything is really actually flows, in my opinion, because not everybody is showing up to be the most powerful in the room immediately, except for the people who are adversaries. And even the adversaries are getting overthrown. And of course, that's a part of story writing. You don't want to show all your cards all at once. But Seven is a number one killer who doesn't really want to kill. And you have Green Phoenix. You find out that he is on a revenge story. That's his whole thing. He wants revenge for something. And he is one who plays an important role in 13's life, because he essentially, I don't want to say adopt is, I mean, I guess you could say adopt, because what is it that when you get a master and then you follow them around and they practically raise you, like you're practically getting adopted, are you not? Like, I know the whole point of having a master is to learn the technique and be their successor, but you practically got adopted at that point, in my fullest opinion. He took care of you for several years. You're practically his kid. But that's his own thing. I feel like we should bring that back. Apprenticeships and masters and all that stuff, mastering crafts and techniques and stuff. I feel like that would be cool, but I don't think the world is ready for that level of artistry and mastery again. I don't know. I feel like I should make a video about that too. Like, what happened to mastery? We just do things now for a paycheck. But the interconnection of the way things are, even down to the location, has me on, I was going to say has me on high. That's crazy. Has me on the edge of my seat, because I'm always wondering, okay, so what's going to be connecting to what? What is connecting to what? Like, before I even said there is a distinction between having superpowers and having chi abilities, of which for 2 full seasons or 2.5 seasons, I thought they were just the same thing. I would just call them powers, superpowers, whatever. But there was a whole episode that was like, no, on this island, people have superpowers, and they were stolen from this island. And here is Prince of Stand, who has this ability to affect other people's superpowers. And Seven doesn't had any effect on it. It didn't have any effect on Seven when that happened. And that's where I was like, oh, those are 2 different things. The way that they roll out the information and show it to you, tell you the story, and then also do it in ways where you have micro stories within the story. It's fast, it's changing, it's not linear, which may not be for everybody, but it's also a breath of fresh air, because this show also focuses on the art of things too. And I think that's awesome. And then the last piece of, I guess, impression this anime has left upon me. Consistent mention and role of what it means to feel, have emotions as a human being. There is a consistent, you shouldn't worry about feeling. Feeling is weakness. Emotions are weakness. Don't feel, don't care. All these things. And of course, you have a lot of people who not only go against that, contradict it, but you have people who are outright questioning it entirely on their own without being told. Like Prince of Stan, you can say he's a guy who he is not stoic. He is completely detached. He's completely insensitive and detached for a good majority of the show. And it comes to a point he's observing other people, and he's trying to understand his own emotions. He's trying to understand other people's emotions. He's like, how are they happy? He literally asked that question, like, I don't understand how they are happy the way that they are. Because he literally can't comprehend it. Like, he went to go destroy the island at one point simply because he just needed something from the island. But when he comes back later, he's like, well, I built this machine to extract the thing that I wanted without destroying the whole island. Like, he's starting to understand what empathy is by the end of the day, right? Then you have the people who are constantly being trained to be killers, and they're also being told a lot of conflicting things. A lot of them being told, like, stop caring, emotions make you weak, all of that, which is in its own right. Emotions can make you waver. And that is an important point, because throughout the show, that's what happens. Because of the emotions and feelings we may have for somebody else, or the morals and feelings that we have for our own lives and values, it makes us waver in our decisions of what we do. It happens. But it brings people together and closer and drives the plot as well. And then you have the people who do follow that role of saying, don't invest in your emotions, just follow blindly, all of that. And I would say someone who I didn't mention, but Blackbird. I didn't mention every single character, but Blackbird is one person who I think is a victim of the circumstance of trying to follow the book based on what he was told. And his whole thing, he's a murderous, torturous being. He's not a good person. But he has to find out in death that his entire life was a lie. Everything he was told was a lie. He was sold a lie on who he was supposed to be. And he accepted it and believed in it, just to find out at the very end that it was always a lie. Everything that he was told to be by the end of the day and how far he went. Same thing goes for the Red Tooth. The reason why Red Tooth is the way that he is because of his emotions. So he wasn't told, well, actually he was told that you are not allowed to be in a romantic relationship with anybody. And he never got the chance anyway. But, you know, he had feelings for someone and that didn't work out. And then he became Red Tooth. I love the mention and interaction, but not like the completely in your face aspect of that. And that tied in with the type of storytelling that we're seeing, as well as the interconnection of things. It's like the entire show is taking you on a journey where you get to find out and ask questions about yourself, and then find out more things about yourself at the same time, without having to go through what everyone else is going through, because they get beat up a lot. Tell you what. But this is a longer video than I had intended it to be, and here I am again, going over the time limit that I thought I set for myself. Because would you believe it, I wanted to make the video about 10 to 15 minutes. I failed at that just now. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what your thoughts are. Have you watched Scissor Seven? Oh my God. Scissor Seven. Have you watched it? It's on Netflix. Please let me know what your thoughts are. Like, comment, subscribe. How's the audio quality? I got a new mic. Okay, bye.